It's 9:31. Let's head into the K-Wave News Zoom room. We're standing by. We have from the Guam Youth Congress, the committee rules chair, Representative Nolan Flores, and also Representative Kiana Yabut. Good morning. And Kiana, you are the legislative secretary?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So yeah, we normally get you guys on every once in a while to kind of catch us up on what are some of the issues that you guys are working on, but it kind of sounds like in our little prep talk before going live here that COVID is ruling the day, even with the Guam Youth Congress.
Yeah, for sure. It's the last couple months we've had trouble getting quorums just because people have had a lot of concerns about being in person with COVID and everything. But we finally had a session last weekend after a while of not having session, and it was a very productive one. So yeah.
What was productive about it, Nolan?
Yeah, we actually passed a resolution that enables us to have online session or a hybrid session. So we'll gavel in at the legislative building, and then we switch everyone to the Zoom room, and that's where we can have sessions. So we're hoping that can help us meet quorum because, like Kiana said, it's been difficult with COVID with the rising cases. But thankfully, the CAR scores headed on its way down. So hopefully we're able to meet quorum more, and we won't need the hybrid session necessarily. Yeah, and aside from that, we had a bill that I sponsored to designate the Gausali as the official flower of Guam.
And I'm pretty sure that got a lot of support.
Yeah, unanimous support, and it was actually introduced in, I believe, 2 or 3 youth congresses before, and even spearheaded by Speaker Wanpat in one of the 30th Guam legislatures.
Right, yeah. Let's go back to that COVID. So you're talking about a lot of members of the Youth Congress have concerns, right? As we're now, I mean, regardless of what the CAR score's doing, this is like week 13 of this surge where we've seen triple-digit cases, right? So what do your reps would kind of say? Because I'm curious that those sentiments aren't echoed by the adult legislature, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of the concern started when the Delta variant became very active in the island, and as school started going back, a lot of our representatives go to school, and so I think it's a little different because for our reps who go to school, me and Nolan go to UOG. There's just more opportunity for contracting COVID, and then having to intermingle with each other like in the session hall is again just another opportunity for that, but we're all trying to stay really safe. But for some of us, we just really can't shake not feeling safe from COVID. So I think that's where a lot of the concern comes from.
Nolan?
Yeah, I'm also really glad that, our representatives as youth recognize that COVID-19, especially the Delta variant, is spreading more so among young people. And that from the pandemic start, we, young people, have played a big role in the spread of the virus. Like maybe less so contracting the virus and getting hospitalized, but really spreading the virus like through social gatherings or what. So I'm glad that our representatives are kind of cognizant of that and understand their role in sort of preventing that, because no one wants to spread the virus, no one wants to contract the virus. So it's good that they have an awareness of that we have an awareness of that.
How does it feel though to be part of that guilty age demographic?
It's kind of like it's a weird thing, right? But I think because I know a lot of the people in our age group, like the early 20s, like late teens, have really been being hit lately. But I think that's just a reality check for a lot of people, because it's like, oh, we're young, we're like immune, but that's clearly not the case, right? A lot of the people our age who get it often just like have a flu and then get over it. But even then, like you never want to be that person who gets COVID and then spreads it. And I think that's something that we've been trying to take care of in the Guam Youth Congress, like with introducing having a hybrid session. So yeah, it's a little bit of a weird thing, a weird age group to be in right now.
Yeah, it's also interesting because, like I said earlier, we're 13 weeks into this surge, and I think a lot of people have been waiting for some type of change in the COVID-19 response. So it's interesting that 13 weeks in, you guys are now talking about, hey, maybe we should go hybrid. What do you kind of make of that though? Because it does seem like in some areas the COVID or the community, and we saw it with some of these chambers of commerce. They come out and they said, "Hey, man, things are pretty crazy. Can we go down to 50%?" Or I think there was even a column recently where they had a bunch of different former chamber heads, and they're like, "Hey, we're all in this together." So it kind of seems like the community is trying to do extra relative to what mandates are actually in place. So just looking back over this 13 weeks, I mean, when you tally up the loss of lives, this transmission is nuts, right? The hospitalizations. Is there anything you guys as youth looking at this response feel like we could have done differently or better?
Nolan, do you want to chime in?
Sure. Well, I think public health, the governor, the administration have done a really good job at this. I think, they've really capitalized on our values as a people and that collectivist nature. And I think that's the important part. And I think that we wouldn't be in a situation like this if it wasn't for any other, or if it wasn't for the administration sort of foresight and need to really clamp down on the restrictions. I think that was a really important part that we got this, even in light of the COVID or the Delta variant. We got our numbers down when we had a pretty good period of no spike in cases, a pretty good period of no deaths, no hospitalizations. And I know the Delta variant threw us all for a loop, but I personally am really appreciative of the governor's response and just the community's ability to, I guess, respond in the same manner.
Kiana?
Yeah, I have to agree with Nolan. I think we were in a very good place, a couple months ago, which is why all the restrictions were lifted, and then the Delta variant came and kind of just kind of like ruined all our plans. But I feel like I should say something like, just because restrictions are lifted doesn't mean that, you should let your guard down. And, if you can stay home, then you definitely should stay home. So just because like we're given a lot of these like privileges to go out and to, eat out maskless and stuff, that doesn't necessarily mean that the fight against the pandemic is over. So, if you can't stay home, definitely do. Always wear your mask, wash your hands. It's definitely not a lighter situation than it was, a year ago. And I think that's important for people to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty bad, actually.
Yeah, and I think despite, our lack of quorum in the past few weeks, we had a really productive, good start, like a really great start early in the term. So we got a bunch of bills passed. They were all sent to the legislature. Senator Shell's office has been really good about pushing them, getting them. We have upcoming public hearings for several bills, and I believe a bill.
Yeah, so I actually have some news from the Guam Youth Congress. Like Nolan said, in the beginning of the term, we were all very productive. You saw like this huge flood of bills come out, excuse me. And since then, we've slowed down, but I was recently given word that the period poverty bill that was introduced by Speaker Lorenzo, Representative Monica from AOLG, and myself could be heard on session floor in October. And the period poverty bill is essentially mandating that period products be given out to people, the kids in elementary, middle school, and in high school. So that's really exciting for us to hear. I think this is unprecedented. Yeah, we're really excited to see how Guam Youth Congress bills are heard on session floor, because it's something that hasn't really been done before.
Right, yeah. We'll definitely look forward to that. And I mean, you said October, it's October 20th, so maybe we'll catch up before the end of the month with an update.
We have a public hearing this Thursday, too, for two of our Youth Congress bills.
Where do people see these hearings at, Nolan?
Sure, yeah. So it's the legislature sponsoring the hearing. It's Senator Nelson's office. So the bills have already been introduced in the legislature. They can be found on YouTube. And then if anyone wants to testify, I know we have the charter school certification bill, and then the SHPO, the minimum qualifications for the SHPO bill. This Thursday at 5 p.m. So it's on Zoom.
Okay. Thank you, Kiana. Thank you, Nolan. Agumas. Let's go. Take a break, guys. We're coming back with Kate Baltazar Dodge of the Payless Community Foundation about their micro grant availabilities. That's next right here on the link. It's 9:41. Good morning.